Hello, my name is Christine and I am creating a testimony video. I do apologize in advance if you happen to hear my birds that are in the background. So, and if you see me looking down, it's because I had to take some notes. There's a lot to say, but I'm gonna try to minimize it as best as I can. So this is my testimony. Let's see. I'm 21 years old. I just turned 21 on May 2nd, so just keep that in mind and please remember. This all started off basically me growing up. I grew up as a Christian. My family, displays themselves as Christians. I did remember, going to church as a child, but I didn't really know much about how that goes. I didn't really know much about Jesus or anything, but I do know that there's a God, and that's how I was, raised. I didn't go every Sunday, so it's not like I was there all the time, but, I just didn't really know much about it. And honestly, the last time, before this year, the last time that I remember going to church was when I was 14. So about like 7 years ago. And that was when I had my, I believe, first vision. A lot of things have happened, but I never really knew what they meant. I believe that there was like a paranormal side to everything, but I just didn't know about much of anything. But I'm gonna explain to you, what I know from my understanding and from my experiences, okay? So bear with me. I'm a little nervous now. Okay. So, yeah. Growing up, I'm from Texas, but growing up, the people that I was around didn't really see me as, I guess you can say, connected with them, so I always felt disconnected. Therefore, a lot of the time as a child, I would always be alone. I had friends, but for the most part, I was alone. So that was kind of a bit of my childhood, and this is a little bit of background about me. Yeah, so I felt pretty much bad about certain things. But over the years, up until now, and maybe more to come, I believe, I don't know what it is, but I've been given dreams, warning dreams in particular, of things that have happened to me, well, really my family members. See, growing up, there was a lot that was going on that I saw, and I'm guessing this is how it all starts. So the very first dream that I remember having, I don't know if I was like around 12 years old or 13 or whatnot, but I was still young, and the first dream I had was, well, it was in the middle of the day. I was asleep, and out of nowhere, I was like in this environment where I was at a funeral, and I was under the impression that my cousin, my small younger cousin that was around the age of like maybe 5, had passed away. This particular cousin didn't, but that dream showed me that I was going to be there at the funeral, and it also showed me talking to that spirit, and even though it was like regular day, like I was at home and everything, and I was at the microwave getting food for my cousin, but I could clearly see right through her. So I know she was a spirit, even though that I was at, I went to her funeral. I woke up like a breath taken out of me. Like I woke up so quick, so fast, like the life has been put back into me, and I didn't really understand that, but I was crying. I was so scared that I was crying. And it comes to find out 2 weeks later, not that cousin that I dreamed, but another smaller cousin that I had that I didn't really know, did pass away due to a family member, and whatever they had going on. I did, ended up going to the wake, and I didn't have, like the experience of talking with her like I did in the dream, but, I guess that dream warned me that I was going to be there, or it showed me that I was going to be a part of that, or warned me about that, that would happen. It was unfortunately sad, but I didn't understand it at all. Another one, this wasn't particularly a dream, but I was laying not laying, but I was sitting in this love seat couch that was in the living room, and out of nowhere I was just like dead sleep, and I like had a sudden urge to wake up for some reason, like urgency, like something was wrong, like I had a strong feeling that something was wrong. And it was immediately after I woke up, 2 seconds later, the phone rang, and on the phone call I had like a bad feeling. And basically what happened was my brother, I found out that he got shot, and you know, my family came to pray for him and everything, and thank God that he's still alive and breathing today. But that was a really scary situation, so I feel like that was important for me to be awake. Nothing happened, the phone didn't even ring yet, I just woke up before it rang, and I just knew something was wrong. I dreamed that my uncle was getting kicked out of where I was staying because of money issues. All I know is something was dealing with something being stolen, and he was packing his bags and going, and then shortly after, maybe a few weeks later, he did get kicked out. And so I don't know why I was given that dream, but I guess it was to tell me or to show me, you know, what was going to happen, and it did come to pass. I had another dream where my two cousins were getting in an argument, and this was literally the night before that it happened, and a part of me was like, well, wait a minute, I had that dream last night, and I went to go, I was out doing something, and my grandma called me, and she's like, hey, I need you to come home because they're fighting. And I'm like, wait a minute, I literally just dreamed that they were fighting. In the dream, I was in the hallway, you know, trying to figure out what was going on, and, you know, be the middleman here, trying to calm everyone down. And exactly the next day, I was in that same exact spot that I was in the dream, and I was pretty much doing the same thing. I was so frustrated, and I was shaking, and I was angry, and I was just confused, and I was trying to tell them, like, you need to calm down, whatever you're arguing about is not that serious, you know. And so that was another warning dream, I guess, and if it wasn't for me being there, things could have gotten bad. I also had another warning dream where one of my cousins in particular, she was dating this guy. He was very, very, very abusive, and I don't know what it was about their relationship. She could never let him go. But in the dream that I had, it showed that he was strangling her, and she couldn't, you know, get help. Like, she couldn't break from that. And in the dream, it showed me running to the back of the house to where her room was, and I broke down the door, and I, you know, started, like, I don't know what I did, but I stopped him from hurting her. And as soon as I woke up from that dream, I was like, oh no, please don't tell me this is gonna happen. Please don't tell me this is gonna happen. And pretty much it did. It happened, and it was a warning, and I already knew. I was doing something in my room, my door was shut, I think I was doing my homework, and all I heard was like muffling, and then I heard a scream, and I was like, oh no, this has to be it. And so I ran back there. I didn't break the door, but I shoved it somehow, and he was in that exact same spot. So I don't know why I get these dreams. They are, I don't know how to explain it, but they're not fun dreams. But I'm grateful that I'm warned of these things, because in some type of way I could prevent whatever badness that could happen from it. I could prevent it from, you know, happening worse. I'm sorry if the lighting is bad. Hopefully that's better. Okay, yes. So, yeah, those are mostly of the warning dreams that I have had, and some more things that I've not particularly dreamed of, but I had a family friend that, you know, I knew who he was, and we were friends and whatnot, but I don't know, he passed, and I feel like he was probably trying to reach out to me. I'm not sure, but in my dream, I was standing in my bedroom, and I was looking down or looking around, and I heard his voice saying, hey, you know, Chris is like one of my nicknames. He was saying, Chris, you know, like, this is, you know, so-and-so, his name. And I kept looking around, like, I heard his voice, I recognized his voice, but I didn't know that, I couldn't see him. So I'm just thinking, like, maybe he was trying to reach out to me. I don't really know. I don't understand 100% everything about the paranormal. But I do know that, you know, all that. Okay, so pretty much I have a lot of more things that I could talk about in the videos. If you're interested in knowing more about the things that I have dealt with or experienced, just comment and let me know. I have more experiences. But I'm gonna get to the actual part of my testimony and why I believe. Okay? Alright. Okay, so pretty much this happened I believe April 19th of this year, maybe a week or two before May 2nd, before my 21st birthday. I was feeling kind of weird. All I know is that for 21, you know how everyone is like, oh yeah, it's time to drink, it's time to party, it's time to have fun, you're grown, blah, blah, blah. I was not about that. All I knew in my heart was like, I don't want to drink. I don't want to do any of that. And I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but I know I didn't want to drink. I didn't want none of that. I was home alone, or in my room by myself. And I was on YouTube, and I came across something that was called like something about third eye or whatever. I don't know what that was. And then I came across, that, and I found out about it, and I'm just like, nah, that seems weird to me, and it feels a little fishy, and I just don't want to, I don't want nothing to do with that, because I'm not trying to have anything that's negative enter into my life. So I knew I didn't want to do that. But then I came across a couple videos of like near-death experiences. I don't know if any of you have seen any of them, but I'm not saying that, any of this stuff influenced what I experienced, but, because of that, I did become curious. Now, I always thought, if there's evil in the world, there's good. If there's good, there's bad. I didn't really know much of anything else. So after watching those near-death experiences, I kept thinking, and I was wondering, well, if God is real, is he real? And, I got curious. So I'm going to tell you a couple of things that happened before I got my answer. Okay? Before I got my answer. One thing that did happen was the night before I had that experience, that dream. I was falling down what it looked like to be a glowing, dark, reddish well. And it looks like to me I was going to hell. I don't know why I had that dream. It was really scary, but I did not want to talk about it. And so I just left it alone. That was the night before. The next day, I was, thinking, and I'm like, is he real? And so the night before I went to sleep, I simply laid there on my back, closed my eyes, and I asked, you know what, God, if you are real, can you show yourself to me? Something. Give me something. And I went to sleep straight after that. It was around like 11 something at night. So here's where it all starts. After I went to sleep, I guess I had a dream, but the thing is, this was different from every other dream that I've had. Like normal, usually when you dream, you forget. But this one, I remembered exactly every single thing for the most part. And it felt so vivid. It felt so real. Like I felt realer in the dream than I feel real here. Like that's how it was, my experience. First, I was on a school bus on the right side, more towards the middle or closer to the back of the bus. I was sitting on the right seat next to the window. When you looked outside, it looked like really gloomy and really dark, but it just looked like a bad environment. I saw a few kids on the bus with me, or people, or whoever they were, but, I didn't know where we were going, but I wasn't allowed to talk or anything. All I could do was sit and observe. And all I know, next thing the bus driver got up, he stared directly at me and said, these seats in the front are for specific people only. You can't sit here. And he made that clear. So I was like, okay, like whatever. I sat there and then I looked down at the seats, and for some reason the seats were like shifting and they were moving by themselves, and I didn't understand that, but I was like, okay. Next thing you know, it went poof. I ended up being in this classroom. In this classroom, there was a whole bunch of kids, and my ethnicity, who I am. All the kids in the room were Caucasian. And I was the only one that was of my race. I was sitting on the right side of the wall in my chair, and I was sitting next to this small child, and he was on my left, and he was the most nicest child there was. He was so sweet. But here's my experience. All I know is that we were going to do an assignment, and my teacher was speaking. She was this beautiful Caucasian lady, blonde hair, blue eyes, the most prettiest as can be. She was nice speaking to all the other children, but I noticed that I needed something for an assignment. And I asked her, but all I know is that when I looked at her and she looked at me, she had this angry look on her face, and she did not want to help me. And so I was like, okay, fine, you don't want to help me, I'll get up and get it myself. So I went up to the classroom in the front. When I got up to the front, I noticed that she kept pacing back and forth to the front and the back of the classroom, but she didn't, she was never really close to me at that point. When I went to the front of the classroom to get what I needed, she was in the back of the classroom. She stared at me. I picked up what I needed. I went back and I sat down at my seat. The kids were laughing at me. I already knew that they were just like making fun of me and laughing at me. And the small child next to me was trying so hard to say, it's okay, it's all right, it's going to be okay, don't let it get to you. And he was like filled with so much love, And I was like trying my best to, remain calm. But then the teacher came. The teacher kept pacing back and forth. And she, out of nowhere, I guess she was making fun of me. She was making fun of my race. She was cussing me. She was, calling me out of my name. She was just being so rude and nasty. But the thing is, she never used her mouth. It was all telepathic. Everything that she was saying to me, I was receiving it in my mind, in my head. And I knew everything she was saying. And the kids all knew what she was saying. And that's why they were laughing. They thought it was funny to make fun of me because of who I was. And it was just bothering me to the point, like, I was, like, feeling fed up and I was feeling so tired, where the kid kept trying to tell me, it's going to be okay, it's going to be all right, don't let it get to you. And I was like, I don't know what to do. And so she kept pacing back and forth. She kept saying it. It kept getting worse. And so to the point where I just, snapped, I guess. I just pretty much picked up my arms and I slammed it on the desk and I was like, I don't remember everything that was said, but what was said out of my mouth was not me. I didn't say it. I don't know who was in me. But when it was said, I remember seeing like darkness, but I saw like I don't know if it was the cross. I don't know if it was perhaps Jesus that was in me speaking for me, but all I know is that it was a man's voice that was coming out of me saying like, I shall no longer be judged based on my skin color, with the power invested in me. And it was just saying a whole bunch of things that I've never said in my life. And I was just kind of shocked that I said it. But once I got done saying it, it wasn't me, it was this man's voice. But once I got done saying it, like, I just like felt like release, kind of like, wait. But I was shocked and scared because as soon as I said that, I turned and I looked at her. And I kid you not, every single child that was in that classroom went poof. They disappeared. They just vanished out of thin air. I don't know where they went. And the teacher looked so angry. She turned from this beautiful Caucasian woman, beautiful, to this ugly, dark man, like evil. He looked so evil, guys. Like, it was horrible. And I wasn't really afraid, but it did shock me. Like, wait, what? You just shapeshifted in front of me? Like, what is this? And so all I know is that the threats kept coming. The anger was towards my head. All the things that was, every single thing, the cussing, the name calling, the judging, every single thing that's, that I guess has been bullying me when I was growing up. Like, all those things were being said to me telepathically, and he charged at me. Even the kid next to me disappeared. And he charged at me. He was running, and for some reason, the only thing that I could think of doing was grabbing that chair that kid was sitting in, and I held it up against me, and I was fighting him off. He was trying so hard to get to me, and he kept, pretty much yelling at me and screaming at me and cussing at me and saying all these things and looking me straight in the eye. Like, I stared him right in the eye, guys. I think I was fighting the devil. Like, I don't know, but this was the scariest, most realist experience that I've ever had. And as I was looking at him through the eyes, like, in the eyes, eventually I was like getting kind of tired of holding my grip, and I was trying so hard to fight for my life, to fight, to protect myself. And it was really weird to me because I know that from the size of me, I was supposed to be like a kindergartner or something, like how little I was. But for me to be, having the strength to fight back, that was amazing. I didn't understand it. All I know is that I was trying my hardest. And eventually, all those things that he was saying, it turned into something that I didn't understand. He was speaking in a whole completely new language that I did not understand. And when it got to that point, I was just like, what? And so next thing you know, I turned my head, I looked towards the door. I think I saw at least one kid left. And I said, someone call the principal. You know, I screamed it with all my might. And next thing you know, I saw the kid run out there. And the next thing you know, these 3 beautiful, tall people, they looked so beautiful. They walked into the classroom and they stared at him. Like, they looked so stern, like they just stared at him. They didn't look at me, but they stared at him. As soon as I saw that they came in, I was just like, you know, holding back. And I was looking at them like walk into the classroom. And he was like right there. He looked at them and he looked at afraid and he backed off. And then I guess he disappeared. I'm not for sure what happened. But all I know is after they came in and rescued me, I went poof again into another, like, atmosphere. Everywhere was white, guys. It was all white. The surrounding was nothing but white, but it was beautiful. And the only thing that I could see in front of me was a Holy Bible. Okay. I've never really read the Bible. I'm sorry. I haven't read any. So I don't really know much of it. When the Bible opened for me, all the pages were blank. But it was like a beautiful wind, or as if someone was like ever so gently about to turn the page for me. And when the page turned, I saw like a verse or a paragraph on the left side. I then, you know, went in and I saw it and I kind of just, you know, hovered over it and I looked. And for the most part, the only thing that I can remember was like, it says, always remember that John, I believe it was either John or Jesus or another name that started with a J, because for some reason that name kept switching. It kept like turning into thing and it had like sparkles on it. And I didn't really know, but I knew that the second name said Joseph. And so it says, always remember that John and Joseph believed in other beings that are outside of this world. So remember, guys, I asked God if he was real. And well, he answered me. I asked him if he was real, and pretty much the answer was, you know, always remember that there are other beings outside of this world. So trust me, if he created us, he created other beings. And he is another being. And he's our God Almighty Creator. So that is basically how I know for a fact that God is real. He gave me that dream. He's given me multiple dreams. But I do want to add something before I let you go. The night after that, I woke up. After that, I woke up and I was like, I felt so shaken and scared. Like, it was dark. I had my nightlight in, but I woke up my husband and I told him, hey, you know, I told him everything that I just told you. And he was like, you know, still asleep. It was like 5:34 a.m. in the morning. I think this happened April 19th, you know, before my birthday. I was telling him, and as I was telling him what was going on, I saw like shadows or something, like black shadows, like going past my eyesight, like really fast. I didn't understand it, but I didn't really focus on that. I was just trying to get out what I was trying to say. It was just like, I was trying to tell him, guys, but I don't know. Okay. So please comment below if any of you have experienced any of this. Your experience, your testimony, anything. I would love to know. I love hearing other people's, you know, testimonies and experiences. But the night after that happened, I was trying to figure out, okay, what do I need to do to obey God? I was looking up his commandments. I tried to understand what the Sabbath was, and I found out that it was, you know, on a Saturday, and I was just trying to figure out all these things, and I guess that made the enemy mad. The fact that God spoke to me or gave me a dream. He attacked me. I remember in the dream I ate something. And I was surrounded by a lot of people I didn't know. And I remember one celebrity was in this dream. I believe it was Cat Williams or something. I don't know. But I ate something. I was surrounded by these people. It looked weird. And I was under the impression that I was cheating. I was forced to do things with a female that I did not want to do. And then I remember waking up and I had sleep paralysis. I was wide awake. And I saw my husband. And all I could do was try to like tap him to wake me up because I knew I was awake, but I couldn't move my body. And all I know is as I was trying to do that, I heard a voice that sounded like him. It was his voice saying, "What are you doing?" And I felt like as if I was being raped. I felt every single thing, but I could not fight it and I didn't know what to do and I couldn't stop it. And I was feeling helpless and it stopped for a second, but then it continued and I just didn't know I didn't know anything. So I just fell back asleep and then I woke up and I realized like, wait, that was so real. I did not want that to happen to me again, guys. I couldn't go to sleep for 3 to 4 days after that occurrence. I couldn't go to sleep. I was afraid of 3 a.m. Like, I was just afraid of everything. I didn't know what to do. And so I believe God kept me up on the third or fourth night, and he wanted me to, you know, he wanted to show me something. And so I was on my YouTube. It was like 5 or 6 in the morning. I gave up on trying to sleep. I just said, you know what, whatever, I'm gonna get on YouTube. I watched some type of video, but the next thing you know, I had another video by a YouTuber named Marcus Rogers, and he actually talked about spiritual warfare and everything that deals with, you know, sleep paralysis and when demons trying to attack you. I did not have to type that in, but that video came up and it played automatically for me. And I never even typed it in, but all I knew is everything he said in that video explained everything that I dealt with. And I was like, God, he answered me. Like, he comforted me. He helped me understand that, you know, this is what's happening. This is the real world, the spiritual world. And I didn't quite understand it, but after that, after me watching that video and understanding and trying my best to get closer to him, I could sleep in peace. I no longer feel afraid. I will not let fear drive me. And you should not let fear drive you guys. Okay, before I let you go, there's a lot that's been happening. Like, you know, I would randomly say, like, I am Jezebel, and I didn't understand who that spirit was until I found out what it was. I would have multiple dreams of being chased by dogs and being eaten by dogs, and every time, like, it felt so real, it hurt. I woke up, and I've had sleep paralysis multiple times before. I've had experiences where blankets were being pulled off of me. I've had all these things happening, but I didn't understand it. But now I know that there is a God, and I know that he loves each and every one of us, and now I am a born-again Christian. And this is my testimony. I want to thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in talking to me, leave a comment. I'll get back with you. But thank you so much. Please, everyone, have a God-blessed day. I pray that everyone will be safe and healed and happy and joyful. If you like this, please give it a thumbs up. Feel free to comment your experiences, and I'm going to let you go. Have a God bless. And I'll see you next time. Bye.